Week one of the NFL 2024 season is providing a lot of amazing revenge game matchups that ended the 2023 season. And this Texans Colts rivalry matchup in week one is no different. It's going to be an amazing game, but CJ Stroud and Anthony Richardson play each other again. We're going to be breaking down this game and also providing our predictions at the very end of the video. But before we get into that, go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Ryan and I, we have weekly prediction videos coming out every single week throughout the entirety of the NFL season that you're not going to miss. So subscribe to the channel while you're at it. Leave a like and also comment and let us know who you think is going to win. Ryan, throw it over to you here. What do you think of both of these Texans and the Colts team kind of coming into the 2024 season?
Yeah, I mean, I think you look at the Texans and winning the division last year, CJ Stroud coming on the scene and just having the year that he did, I think is going to be he's going to have very high expectations. Whereas I feel like with the Colts, Anthony Richardson having season-ending surgery after week 4, really only playing in 3.5 games, I think I don't want to say they have lower expectations, but I think you look at where the Colts are, and I think the Colts' main goal is just to have a winning season and be competitive in a lot of these games, where I think the Texans, as a season outlook, are really hoping to win 12 to 13 or more games. And I don't think the Colts are quite in that realm. Now, when you get into the actual talent on the teams, I think they match up fairly well on the when you compare the offenses. Nico Collins, Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell, all three of those receivers are very solid options. Whereas you look at the Colts, Michael Pittman Jr., A.D. Mitchell, I think is going to be a phenomenal rookie for them. And Alec Pierce, I think, is a decent third option. They do have Josh Downs, but he does appear to be on IR at the moment, or I don't know, or inactive or on the PUP list so far. So it looks like he may not be active for this matchup specifically, but hopefully later on in the season he can come back to the lineup. It is going to be at Indianapolis, and so I think that does play in their favor. I'm also looking forward to seeing a modified Shane Steichen offense now that Anthony Richardson can come in and play a full season. He's had a full year of NFL development. So I think all in all, this is an exciting matchup between two very young teams that are going to, want to be physical. And I do think the Texans have the defensive edge, just with Derek Stingley, Will Anderson, not Dallas Turner. I get them mixed up all the time, but Will Anderson and co. And I am very curious to see what the new look defense looks like for the Texans, because they had a lot of moving parts. So.
Yeah, no, this Texans team, it's crazy to think the way that they ended 2023 and how much better that they got in the offseason. And so I'll agree with you on some of the stuff you said, and I'll disagree with you here in a second. But first, let's quickly kind of take a look at what the betting markets say as of right now. It's kind of on overall favorites. And so if you do like to put a couple bucks down on the game, check out the link in the description box of this video, as BetUS is having a fun promotion for all first-time players that you're not going to miss out here. Check out the odds of this game and also all the other games as well, and place a couple of bets. As of the recording of this video, Texans are 1-point favorites with the over-under at 49. And I do agree with that 49 over-under. Because actually, if I'm not mistaken, too, I think wasn't the final game last year, Week 18, 27-24? I think that's what
I don't remember off the top of my head.
I believe it was something like that. I'll have to go back and double-check. I'll do that here real quickly. But one of the areas where I agree with you is that I think these teams, oddly enough, are kind of similar. However, are similar overall, just kind of with their overall competitiveness. Last year's game was great, and the Colts did actually whoop up on the Texans earlier on in the season. That was week 2 before I think everything really started to kick in for the Texans. However, though, now I think with the bringing in Stephon Diggs, I disagree with you there. I think their receiving room is significantly better, led by Tank.
I think it's better. But Michael Pittman was a 1,300-yard receiver. Alec Pierce has made some plays. I'm also upgrading A.D. Mitchell as being a potential.
Alec Pierce hasn't really made too many plays. So A.D. Mitchell, unknown product. I like the two-headed monster with Michael Pittman and Josh Downs. I'll give you that. But even then, too, as well, they don't really have a tight end. And if you include Dalton Schultz into that category, and now you have So now I'm kind of expanding more to pass catcher realm. The
Yeah.
Texans have so many more weapons here.
Yeah. Well, if we're going that route, you could also include Jonathan Taylor, who's clearly the best running back in this game.
Fair. And so this is where I'll say to you. So the X factor, though, of all this, as you mentioned, kind of this hybrid Shane Steichen offense, is going to be Anthony Richardson. I do believe Anthony Richardson can be that X factor because we've seen how just much of a monster he is physically. And if he could stay healthy, even with how good this Texas defense is, how do they match up and kind of stop Anthony Richardson? Because in week 2 last year, they couldn't figure it out. Now, that was almost a year ago, and Anthony Richardson, I think, only played 4 or 5 games. But also, I will say on top of this, if someone has Anthony Richardson, you still have Joe Flacco behind you, which I never thought I would say that as like a compliment to Joe Flacco, but he proved all of us wrong in Cleveland. So I think Anthony Richardson is going to be the absolute ginormous X factor. If he is still working out the kinks, if he is still trying to get the NFL arm accuracy, because we all know he has the power, I think the Texans are just going to match up really well against them. Colts improved brought in all the good players back as well, and they improved a little bit in the secondary. So the young secondary is going to have some more veteran experience. That being said, though, I don't believe they're going to be a match for the Texans, and I'm probably already giving away my pick here. But I don't think they're going to be a match overall. I think CJ Stroud is just going to have too many weapons to really choose from. Now, that being said, though, if Anthony Richardson can be that freak athlete and they can do a lot of RPO with Jonathan Taylor in the backfield as well, you're going to have Michael Pittman and Josh Downs streaking across the field. So we're going to have Alec Pierce or A.D. Mitchell, one that's going to be streaking deep, so you're going to be able to stretch the field a lot. That's where I think this game could get really interesting. Anthony Richardson, to me, is – I don't say the only X factor, but he's the biggest X of them all because if he can come in and be that stud that we saw in last year's combine, and as we saw in bits and pieces throughout the season before he ended up getting hurt for the whole season, then this game I think can be really interesting. If he's still taking a little second to get back here, I'm feeling this just might be a long game for this Colts team overall.
Yeah, and I'm also going to go with Houston here. I just think this Colts team is young. They're still kind of figuring it out. I do think this offense is going to be more effective with Anthony Richardson if he can stay healthy, barring that. But to me, where I get concerns is this defense. Now, I don't think that the Houston Texans are this like extreme downhill running team that I think will take advantage of the Colts' lack of like size in that front seven. However, I do look at just the weapons compared to like who's in the secondary, and I think that is a major area of need for the Colts to improve in. So who knows? Maybe Juju Brents could come in and have a good year for the Colts. But right now, just going off of what we saw last year, I think that this Colts defense isn't just going to have quite enough to slow down this Texans offense that really seemed to figure things out especially at the end of last year. They were putting up a lot of points on everybody. So
it's I think it's going to be a good game. I'm just going to be curious on just because I know when like week 2 last year is a lot of stuff happened since then, and Anthony Richardson played well in that game. And I actually think he actually ended up getting hurt in that game and leaving it. But they're already up like 30-13, if I'm not mistaken. So leave a comment down below if I am mistaken. However, I think the Texans have improved so much. Everybody fully believes in DeMeco Ryans. It's going to be really fun, too, because I really respect DeMeco Ryans and Shane Steichen and how they really managed both of those teams last year in their first season as head coach. Would not be surprised if this becomes kind of like a new coaching rivalry as the Colts keep getting better, as Anthony Richardson keeps developing, too, as C.J. Stroud keeps developing as well. But just with the moves that the Texans made this year on the defensive side of the ball, they're going all in. And bringing on Danielle Hunter and everybody as well. Bringing on Stephon Diggs for the 1 year that they'll be able to tolerate him. And I think he's going to be able to be a huge impact for that entire team. Just because now if you're the secondaries coach, you're the defensive coordinator, I got to stop Nico Collins, Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell, Dalton Schultz, and now Joe Mixon as well. And CJ Stroud can throw it anywhere he wants. I just don't know how you stop that. So I think it's going to be a phenomenal game. I do believe the Texans are going to come out on top. I will say this. I will do 27-17.
I was going to go 31-20, I think is
Perfect.
the final score. So
I
I
like
think it's going to be a little bit higher than the over under there. But let's go ahead and wrap this one up here. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below on who you think is going to come out ahead in this matchup. Sorry for that. And other than that, we will see you guys next time.